Welcome back to the garage, guys. Today we are going to revisit our diverter valves. If you look back in my other videos, you see that I covered the outside two, the QRJ and the Lindsey Racing no-name brand diverter valve. We are also tossing in the R1 valve. I kind of have them laid out in order: worst, better, best. I'll take them apart, at least two of them apart, to show you the insides. The R1 is a really nice valve. It's a diaphragm valve. If you look in there, you can kind of see that orange thing. That's the diaphragm. This one does not have a diaphragm. It's strictly a aluminum piston in there with some O-rings. Has a tendency to leak. Ignore the RTV that's on that because that fitting was leaking. So this one I probably won't take apart, only because it's a bit harder and I don't want to mar this thing up. It's kind of on loan to me right now. But you can see it has two holes where you'd put a tool on the top, twist the top off, and then you'd have access to the diaphragm and the spring that's inside there. The QRJ has a bunch of Allen bolts. You could see this is much bigger than the other two. Ports are bigger. It's designed to flow. I mean, you can see there's no hard edges in the inside. It's strictly maximum flow. This one, again, it's a better valve, but it's not 100% designed to flow. There are some sharp edges in the ports, and the ports are a little bit smaller. In fact, you could fit the port of this inside that one. And then this one is just, again, there's really no thought to airflow, helping the airflow in this. It's just a valve that opens and spits out whatever air that comes out. So originally this was going to go on the car. I haven't had a chance to do that because to make this thing fit, as you can see, it's like as big as my hand. It has to fit over in this corner, and you can see it's pretty tight. So this pipe here is going to get changed out. This is going to get mounted somewhere over on this side, and it's a recirculation valve, so it's going to recirc back there. I don't want to do open blow off right now, but we'll see. We'll see if things change. Things always change, right? Constantly looking for better stuff, better ways, better things to do. This R1 valve, I haven't tested it yet. It hasn't been on the car yet. I've been having problems with this opening prematurely and bleeding off some boost. I've taken it apart before, lubed it up on the inside. It helps for like a week or so, and then it starts to bleed off again. It even has stiffer springs in it. So I'm interested to see how this diaphragm valve works a lot better. So let's get these opened up and see what we could do here. Boom! We got them all apart. So, QRJ, it's apart. You can see massive aluminum casing. I've covered some of this stuff before. Full CNC. You can see no hard edges in the ports. It's all radiused out. Large spring. This is the cover with a piston guide for the valve to ride on, so it stays centered. This is your massive valve. It has an O-ring at the base to seal, and it's a diaphragm all the way around. That little plunger sits in that guide to guide it up and down. So you can see this is pretty beefy, really well designed. The high-end stuff here. The R1, again, I don't want to take it apart because it is on loan, but if you look in there, it has the same type of diaphragm piston as the QRJ does. You can see the orange on the top of this one. It's just scaled down. So the piston in there is smaller. It has its own diaphragm, much like this one does. Superior design for that kind of setup. Like zero leaks from that. You're not going to have boost leaks. You're not going to have vacuum leaks. Pretty well designed unit. This R1 unit is from ECS Tuning. Go check them out. It is pretty cool. And again, it's a good intermittent valve if you don't want to go big boy, because this has to be fabricated to fit. We're on my car, which is an 86 944 turbo. This will drop in the stock location, and it's superior to this unit. This unit, you see them a lot. I think they're around the same price range as the ECS tuning unit. But you could see the downfalls of this system. So here's your aluminum body. The fitting on the end here is screwed in, and that tends to leak, so you'll bleed off boost air. You can see there's O-rings inside of this. That's the only sealing ability that piston has. There's no guide for the piston. It's all just machine fit. Here's the piston. There's no diaphragm on top. It literally just sits in there, relies on those O-rings. Hopefully they don't leak. There's no O-ring on the bottom of this piston to seal against the surface in there. It is strictly machine tolerances. You could already see somewhere on this. This has been on the car for a little while. I periodically take it apart, clean it, reseal it, and rock and roll. And here's your top. So nothing too fancy on that. It's kind of just let's make something to get the job done. This is far superior just in its piston valve design with the diaphragm. If you push that, I was looking at it earlier, it's kind of hard to get on camera, but if you push that piston open, there's an O-ring on the bottom of that piston to seal. So that's going to seal, you know, almost 100%. And this thing is just top notch over here. So these two, really, really good. I'm going to test this out. I'm going to log it. I think it's going to be awesome. I'm really excited to use it. I hope more guys go to this option rather than this option. It's just not a good design. It's just, once you start playing with these things and you start looking at products that are offered, you start to realize some of the stuff out there is just out there to get your money. You know, it's not helping the car. It's not helping your community. It's just out there to get money out of your pocket and keep it going. So that's where we stand now. I'll post some more findings on this guy. I got high hopes for him until I can fabricate. We're going to go 2.5-inch intercooler pipes with V-band clamps for this thing. So it's going to take me a little bit to get that fabricated and all done, but that's the game plan to eventually go to. In the meantime, the other thing we're doing, I've noticed my spool for my turbo is starting to come down a little bit. My original setup on this car, before I did a cam and head, my Voodoo turbo, it's a 6058, was spooling full boost, 21 psi at about 3200 RPM. I put a cam and a head in it, had a lot of stuff apart, so I've got it back down to about 3600, but recently it started coming back up to 37, 4000. And if you look at my logs, if you're familiar with logging data parameters on an engine, you could watch the boost come up, and then it just holds for like 1000 RPM and then jumps way up. Typically, you don't get a long trailing arch like that. You want it to go up and then keep going straight across. So it's indicating, excuse me, a boost leak. Compared to some other guys' logs, same deal. So what I'm going to do is I have access to a pressurized smoke machine, and this will go up to about 25-30 psi. Pressurized smoke, I will go tap into the exhaust system, plug the back end, hit this thing with some smoke and pressure, find out what flanges are leaking, get that squared away. Because once that boost spools where it's supposed to be, once that turbo spools where it's supposed to be, it's going to really wake this thing up. It's kind of like a lazy boost feel now. It's like you feel it creep up, and then all of a sudden you're flying. Where it's like if it's not leaking, it's gonna hit pretty hard. So between fixing that, changing out the recirculation valve, I think we've got some good hopes coming. And it's another update. Going to be doing some more updates. Just trying to get these out more, keep you guys interested. Post any questions you have, any comments. I will I will get some driving footage of this car. I know every time you guys see it, it's in the garage, but I do drive this every day to work when it's nice out. So it does get on the road. And like I said before, I probably have about, I don't know, 50 logs on this thing by now. Different temperature conditions, different driving conditions. So that's where we're at. I will let you guys know how the R1 valve works. Really excited about it. Peace out, guys.